back again, and I have a very special Valentine's message for you guys. And the reason why I wanted to do this particular message for you is to help and support you to get to the next level, either if you're in a relationship, to get to a whole new level of depth, oh my gosh, with what I'm going to share with you guys today. But also, not just that, also, it's really going to help any of you guys out there who aren't currently, if you aren't currently in a relationship and maybe you want to be part of a relationship, then ultimately you are going to set yourself up on the right foot. And the reason why you're going to be setting yourself up on the right foot is because you are going to be so far ahead of the game in terms of how you take responsibility for how you show up in relationships. And this is really, really an amazing message for those of you out there who have struggled with relationships in the past. So, as we go through, and I'm going to really dive into using myself as an example for you guys and give you one of the most simple and precise tools to identify your patterns in intimate relationship. It is so empowering, and I would love for you guys to play along wherever you are tuning in from. Drop me a comment, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, and have you got a Valentine's, or what's going on in your life today? Here in Australia, it's Valentine's Day. Might be tomorrow for you, or maybe some other time, I don't know. But I really want to dive into this with you guys. And if you have some people who are special in your life, who you want them to master the art of relationships and love, this is something I'd love for you to share with them. So share away if that's possible for you guys. But today's message is all about how the words that you use to describe your childhood, how those words actually directly relate to your expectations and experience in relationships. So this is a really powerful one. So a while ago, I was having some challenges in a relationship, and I was like, what's going on here, right? And I reached out to one of my coaches, and they wrote back to me and they said, describe your childhood upbringing in 5 words. And I did so, right? I wasn't feeling great, and I did that. And then what it actually meant, and what he was able to show me, was that those exact 5 words were what I was expecting my relationship to be. And then because of those words and how they were kind of had something you'd think, nobody wants that, right? It was getting in the way of me wanting more in a relationship, because I was like, subconsciously, I didn't want that stuff, right? So my key words at that time, which really actually surprised me, because I've always, if somebody asked me, what was your childhood like? I would be the first to say I had a great childhood. It was fun, and, I got everything that I could possibly want. I never had any traumas kind of going on, that's how I would describe it, a happy childhood. And but what was interesting to me was when I really sat with that question, because my coach asked me, right? I needed to give him the right answer. And I really sat with that question, and I really felt into being that little girl in my childhood. And, I wasn't feeling that great at that time. So it allowed me to go a bit deeper, an element deeper into my own emotional experience that I'd never really owned. And what my key words was I felt isolated, it felt empty, I felt disconnected, there were a lot of expectations, and perfection was necessary. Okay, so when I was able to see those clear, descriptive words of my childhood, I was like, whoa, like mind blown, because those exact things were playing out in my intimate relationship. So what I was seeing was, if I'm in relationship, I'm going to be isolated. It's going to feel empty. I'm going to feel disconnected. There's going to be so many expectations, and I have to be perfect. All right. And so that was so true for me. And the moment I was able to actually realize that and own that those were my descriptive words from my childhood, was a moment that I actually realized that, these are my patterns, right? Has nothing to do with that other person. And what I could actually see was my pattern of relationship was, I just wanted to find somebody who would make it safe enough for me to just be all of who I am. And I was sick and tired of feeling like I was being put on a pedestal and I couldn't have any other emotion less than perfect, right? So can you see, at some point I had to realize maybe it's not those people I've been in a relationship with, and maybe it's me, because I keep having the same experience over and over again, right? And so when I was able to see that my childhood, perception of my childhood was actually playing out in my intimate relationships, and that had nothing to do with them and everything to do with me, I was able to decipher, what work I needed to do and not throw away relationships and dynamics that, I'd projected that was the problem. And instead, I was able to own that. And so that's work I'm still doing, right? I'm still on that journey, but it was such an empowering lesson for me to personally learn. And particularly, I asked my partner, how to describe his childhood. And he gave me 5 really, challenging words as well from his childhood, which were like traumatic, sadness, manipulative, confusing, painful, and scarcity. And all of a sudden, we're able to see, wow, I feel like being in relationship with you is going to be filled with expectations and I have to be perfect, and I'm going to feel isolated and disconnected and empty. And you feel like relationship is supposed to be traumatic, and there's lots of sadness, and there's manipulation, and there's it's going to be confusing and painful, and there's going to be scarcity there, right? So can you see that 2 people, healthy human beings doing our thing, coming together with this unresolved perceptions of our childhoods, were playing out in our relationship dynamic, right? And so that's what the relationship was. So if you don't understand what your patterns are, what you're bringing, what healing and wounds, what wounds you haven't healed yet from your past, you haven't resolved, just know that your relationship is going to be, that it's like you and that other person, but really what's having the relationship is your patterns, right? And so your patterns are in relationship with one another. And so the actual human beings want to have a loving, deeply connected relationship, but really what's at play is the unresolved patterns interacting, and you're never going to have the depth until you own and take responsibility and stop blaming and projecting what your patterns are. And that's why I wanted to share this and gift you with this on this special day of Valentine's Day, whether you celebrate it or not. There's a lot of talk about the commercialization of Valentine's Day, whatever. I don't even care about the commercialization. I know we've got every single day to celebrate love and go deeper in our relationships. Why not just make sure that today's another day that you do that, right? But I'm hoping that for those of you out there who are in relationship, sit with this question today and ask yourself genuinely, now you know where it's leading, right? But genuinely ask yourself to really describe your childhood. And I want to put some pointers out there. It's more about your childhood upbringing, right? And think about the challenges, right? Because we've got both sides. We've got the happy times and we've got all that stuff as well, right? But there's a lot more power if you focus on the negative parts of your childhood upbringing. I guarantee you it is going to really support you to grow further. But you ask yourself that, sit with that question, ask your partner that, and then see how your patterns are interacting in your relationship and just own that, right? It's going to be really, really empowering for you. One of the best things that you can ever do to increase your connection in your relationships. And if you're not in relationship, Ask yourself that question, and then know that that's your pathway for the work that you need to do on you, so that you're absolutely going to hit the ground running the next time another amazing human being comes into your existence, and you get the opportunity to start and build something new with them. All right, it is the greatest gift that you could ever give anybody that you love, is an extraordinary quality of relationship with yourself, and you having moved through and owned your patterns and your contribution to the challenges in relationship. And you might even want to take it the next step and reflect back on your previous relationships and see how these exact patterns have been playing out. You know, for example, like I gave you, I thought, these partners of mine just keep seeing me as this perfect thing, right? And putting me on this pedestal. And I've got such high expectations to consistently live up to that I can't feel like I can express all of who I am or express a negative emotion. And I actually generated that result in my past relationships. And so me owning it can reflect back and can, see, it's me. It's very empowering. The more responsibility you take in your life, the more empowered you become. All right. So hoping that this is of value to you guys. I'd love to hear your results and to see you owning this. So describe your childhood upbringing in 5 words, right? Just 5 separate descriptive words, and I guarantee you it's going to help and support you to break through, because you're going to see and own what your patterns are. Okay, and then that's only going to help you improve your intimate connections moving forward, not just your intimate relationship. You'll see this play out in all your relationship dynamics, but it's the most, and it's kind of like set on fire and ignited in your intimate relationship. All right, so I would love to check in with you guys. So drop me a comment if you're game enough to let the world know what your 5 are, like I shared with you. I'd love to hear from you guys. Otherwise, definitely do this work in your own time and share it with your special people in your life who you want to deepen your connections with. All right, so I definitely want to check in with you guys. So drop me a comment, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, and just say hi. I love it. Or any questions, words of wisdom, you guys know I love it all. But I've got Vanessa, awesome, and Donald from Fort Dodge, Iowa, awesome. I love hearing where you guys are from, all spread over the place. And Tony's here as well, and Emma and Vanessa. Hey V, so glad to finally catch you live again. Awesome to see you, beautiful. Hope you've been doing amazingly well. And Jason's here as well, and Justin, much love, and Francesca, and Vanessa. Oh my gosh, yes, being put on a pedestal and having to be perfect all the time, this really resonates, thank you. Boom, yeah, massive one for me. But like, instead of me blaming my partners for not giving me the capacity or the room or the space to just be all of who I am, I can actually own, this is a pattern from when I was a little kid, having the perception that I needed to be perfect in order to make people happy and to build connection, right? And so that's my own restraint that I placed upon myself. And so my journey right now is actually going the other side. My journey right now is actually, feeling deeply into my emotions, because I've built a life being able to go, you know what, I don't want to feel like crap, so I'm just going to switch it and I'm going to feel good. And, all the people and the gurus that I've learnt from so far, all of those, particularly in the beginning, that's what they preached, right? Change your state, like just be happy, right? Just choose how you want to feel. And that is one stage of development, to know that you get to choose and you can change your state of mind and your emotional state. But, I was expert level at that, right? I grew up being able to just switch that off and just turn up the volume on being perfect and happy and whatever. And so my personal growth is in actually falling down, being sad. And, I went through a whole journey over this particularly over the last year, and mainly the last 6 months. You might not have seen as much of me over that period of time, because I really had to let go of the doing so I could do a lot more of the feeling. And that might be true for you guys as well. There's people out there who are the opposite, and they do a lot of feeling but not enough doing. And I'm the person who's doing a lot of doing, but actually I need to get into my feelings. And so hope that served you. And Vanessa, we've always got so many similarities apart from our names, so I love that. And Jared's here as well, and Jimmy and Daryl, happy Valentine's Day to you too, my friend. And same to you, Justin, thank you. And Zena's here as well, and Grant, hello from Mumbai. I didn't know you were in Mumbai, Grant. That's amazing, a place I'd love to get to one day. And Tu's here, and Grant, imperfect parents doing their best. So beautifully put. You know, we're all human beings doing our very, very best in this world. So exactly like you're saying there, Grant, instead of, you know, I actually shared this with my parents at Christmas time, because I wanted to hear what their words were, right? So, and I wanted to see their dynamic. But, you know, I have a phenomenal relationship with both my mum and my dad. And I'm really, really grateful for that and proud of that. And, you know, it was tough for me to say to my parents, who absolutely did their best. You know, as a kid, I felt isolated, empty, disconnected, that there were a lot of expectations, and I felt like I needed to be perfect, right? That was actually tough saying to them. And what I realized when I answered the question, and it surprised me, it was because I was painting a picture of my childhood, because that in itself would make my parents happy, right? Rather than actually acknowledge and own how I felt as a little girl, you know, I was like, no, block that out. Just happy, beautiful, amazing, fun childhood, right? And so that's part of my growth journey as well, is just to be more authentic and be more, not just authentic, because, you know, what I really needed to do, I didn't actually allow myself to really ponder and hear the truth, you know, because I've been good at coming up a certain way to make everybody happy, instead of how do I actually feel, right? And acknowledge that. So, yes, great point there, Grant. And absolutely love my parents. I feel incredibly lucky to have them as my mum and dad. And Andrew's here as well. And Vanessa, you are so welcome, beautiful. And Sarah is here as well. So guys, I really hope that you are going to take the time on this special day. Just use it, you know, instead of getting caught up in, so many people are like, refuse to like engage in Valentine's Day because it's been so commercialized. But I'd rather channel my energy into, well, it's a reminder to look at and value our loving relationships. You don't have to buy into anything, right? Instead of wasting that energy criticizing it, just channel it into something like this, right? So use it, and this day as a day that you go one level deeper, and probably a hell of a lot more. This might be the most powerful work you've ever done in identifying your patterns in relationship, to identify and describe in 5 descriptive words your childhood upbringing, and see how they relate directly to your expectations and experiences, particularly in your intimate relationship. All right, so hope that's of value. And Grant, today starts with self-love, absolutely, because you can't really, you know, go the depths with another person if you're not feeling fulfilled within yourself, right? We're always treating others how we're internally treating ourselves, and expecting to be treated the way that we treat ourselves. So really, really key points if you're challenged in relationship, or you're just looking to grow to that next level of your potential. And for all of you guys who aren't currently part of the Limitless Potential community, make sure that you come and join our free community group on Facebook. I'll drop you guys a link. And for those of you who want to go even deeper than that, we've got masterclasses and group coaching, and we do some amazing stuff with people from all corners of the globe. So reach out to me anytime if you're ready to experience the next level of your limitless potential. And as always, guys, I'm sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I really do hope that it's beautiful, amazing, and extraordinary, that you're doing something super empowering, and today's message has definitely served you. Please do share this message if you find it valuable with anybody you think would find it valuable as well. Greatest gift that you can give to me. And thank you so much to everybody who could join me live today. I so appreciate you, and I appreciate your contributions to the conversation as always, and wishing you a very, very happy Valentine's Day.